What's up, guys? Undead back again for quite a different video than what I'm used to nowadays. Just a good old-fashioned commentary, sitting down, me to you, so you guys get a chance to kind of connect with the person behind with these videos that you've been seeing me put out in these most past, what is it, months now. And just kind of let you guys get in a chance to, kind of connect with me, see the person that's doing the stuff that you guys are watching and liking. And today I'm going to be doing kind of like a behind-the-scenes look at one of my most recent videos I've done, the Why We Fight Mass Effect 3 movie, or movie in quotations. I just kind of nicknamed it that, and it kind of stuck. It worked pretty well. Anyway, this is just me kind of behind-the-scenes look for anyone that's interested in kind of the stuff that goes into making something like that. Something that some of you might enjoy seeing, kind of like behind the scenes or behind the works of how something like that works. What the editing was like, what the project timeline looks like. So if there's anyone out there that's actually interested in that type of stuff, this is definitely right up your alley. And basically, I'm just going to be letting this play for the most part. I'm going to stop and talk about some things as I go along. Just kind of like make some comments, let out some thoughts that I had at the time of making it and while editing it together. Stuff of that nature. But for the most part, I'm just going to kind of let it play. Like I said, I'll stop at a few points that I feel I need to stop and talk about. This is generally going to be the setup too. I'm just going to have a little preview window in the top right. I could expand this, but this doesn't actually adjust the screen size at all. It always stays the same. So that's just going to stay. And I'm going to be moving this timeline at the bottom here. I'll be moving this along with us as we continue to watch this, so you guys can see the edits in the sound, the transitions in the video, and stuff of that nature as we go along. So in case any of you are very interested in seeing what exactly goes into a production like that type of video, this is the video for you, and I hope you guys like it, and I think it'll be cool to see, especially show you guys how I did something like this, and because I definitely enjoyed making this. This is probably my most favorite video that I've ever made to date, and it was just a ton of fun, and I really enjoyed it, and I have a couple more like these in the works. Not going to say too much, but just stay tuned for that. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm just going to jump right into it. And I'll just let it play for a little bit, and I'll start talking and make some comments, and yeah, so let's get going. I'll start playing this, and I'll adjust the volume as it need be, as the music does get quite loud in some parts and soft in others, so I'll keep that adjusted pretty well. Like I said, the timeline's in the bottom, video's in the top right.
It's so good to finally see
and
you.
Let's go.
You too, Miranda.
I couldn't get anywhere near you when the Alliance had you locked up. A visit by the former Cerberus second-in-command would have been disastrous. Any kind of secret communication would have looked even worse. I was tempted to break in and see you.
That would have been tough to explain.
Shepard, about Earth.
Countless people lost their lives within minutes. The Reapers are everything we feared.
They should have listened to you a long time ago. I'm sorry, Shepard.
What about you? What brings you here?
I need to talk to a few people. Like you. The Citadel is a good place to meet. For now. What's the Alliance's next move?
We have a plan. It's a long shot.
Not surprising. Shepard, am I still part of your plan? It's been so long I wasn't sure where we stood.
Miranda, things are never going to be easy for us. But I'll always want you in my life.
No second thoughts? This is your chance to back out.
No.
I'll kind of do a quick pause there and make some comments. It was interesting making and going into this project because when I first started this a couple weeks ago, I only had really these two initial songs, and I understand that the my audio is completely messy, and it's probably a horror scene for anyone that does video editing on their own. I apologize. I learned a lot of things since this point that I didn't know then, which included is this convenient volume thing that you can easily edit. I didn't know about that at this point, so I apologize if the audio is a bit messy, but it got the job done, and that's why I really needed it to do. But as I was saying, when I started this, I really only had, I only had two songs. I had this first song that you hear here.
We should get to the Normandy.
And I had this song that you hear, and the second song that you hear. And that was it. That was it. And that was, those two songs together, like it says in the timeline, is about 7 minutes. And that was pretty much, it. I believe I had one other song. I can't remember it quite at this time. But for the most part, that was it. I only intended, in my mind when I started it, I only imagined this, video only being, 8 minutes max, maybe pushing 9. But beyond that, it was it was expected to be pretty short. And as I got more into it, and as I started piecing the pieces together at the very beginning with the Miranda scenes, I originally planned it to be like a Miranda Lawson tribute from Mass Effect, and it was going to be revolved around those two throughout the series, or throughout the last iteration of the trilogy. And that was my original intention, but as I started piecing these stuff together in the beginning, and I added these Normandy scenes, and then I added this Reaper attack piece from the very beginning mission, it quickly dawned on me that this can be much bigger than just the two of them. And that was a really cool moment for me. I kind of just leaned back, took a look at it really deep, and I said, I can do a lot more with this. And it was at that point when I really started to find a lot of these songs that you hear throughout the piece. I found this third piece here, the third piece in here, and then I found some of the last pieces, which were just phenomenal. And once I started finding the music, it just started flowing together really well. And I'm kind of going off on a tangent, especially this. I'm not going to do this every time I pause it, I promise. This is just discussing kind of the origin of this whole entire project, and this is it. I'll get off this in just a second. But for me, in case you're wondering, for me personally, from my process of doing any type of cinematic video like this is generally, well, I said generally, but this is my rule of thumb for every single video I do, and that is, for any cinematic video or anything of that sort, I always find the music first, and that makes all the difference. I know that sounds weird, and that's not how a lot of things do it. That's not how trailers for game companies are done or anything like that sort. But for me, something of this nature, it's definitely so important to find the music first, because once you find the music and you start matching stuff up and syncing it up to the video, it just flows so well. And the music kind of sets in your mind. The music's essentially like the story that you want to follow, because the music in itself is a story. And so that's typically how I approach stuff like this. So I kind of laid, for me, how I did this originally is I laid down the music as a foundation of what I wanted to happen, and then once I laid down the music, I just started piecing pieces of video together and adding it on top of each other and adding more and more until eventually the final product came out. I mean, that's essentially my my work method in every single one of these videos. It sounds weird, but it works really well. So yeah, that was sorry, that was a long ass tangent. I promise I won't do that much more. But yeah, just recap that. When I first started this, it only planned to be 7 to 8 minutes, and it was only going to be about Miranda Lawson tribute in her part in the third game, and that didn't turn out so well. It turned out to a full-blown 27-minute movie. Anyway, let's keep going here. I'll let you guys keep viewing this timeline to see how this comes together. Because this part was very interesting with audio, trying to get these levels balanced, because it gets quite loud in the game portion of this. So let's go in here how this goes.
What do we do?
The only thing we can. We fight or we die.
We should get to the Normandy. Normandy, this is Anderson. Do you read?
Admiral, what's your location?
By a downed gunship in the harbor. I'm activating its distress beacon. About time.
Let's go.
Shepard,
Come on.
I'm not going. You saw those men back there. There's a million more like them, and they need a leader.
We're in this fight together, Anderson.
It's a fight we can't win, not without help. We need every species and all their ships to even have a chance at defeating the Reapers.
I'll be back for you, and I'll bring every fleet I can. Good luck.
You too, Shepard.
Yeah, this part was very interesting because, you know, like I said before, as I started putting pieces of video down on top of that first song, it wasn't enough of really musical development to go too broad. So as I started putting that together, and I started with the first pieces of Miranda, and then I transitioned to the scene of them on Earth and it being attacked, and that worked so well because it kind of like, the music fit it so well. And I had to do a little bit of editing editing magic on some of these clips throughout the entire thing to kind of hide the dialogue boxes that you see in Mass Effect, because obviously the last thing I'd ever want to happen during, if I was creating this movie, quote unquote, is for you to see the dialogue box of the options. That would be a disaster, and that would completely take away from the feel of it. So basically what I did for those, I just tightened the shot a little bit, changed the aspect ratio very slightly, but just enough so for a scene like this, when there is a dialogue box down here, it hit it perfectly and tightened the shot, but didn't look too out of place, and it quickly changed in a matter of seconds anyways to a normal shot, so it flowed really well. And that's something I had to do a couple times throughout this whole thing, just so the feel of the movie didn't, become interrupted by these little dialogue boxes. And same thing with this situation right here. I had to cut this because I was very quickly running out of music time. At this point, I had about 20 seconds left of this song, and this whole speech was a lot longer than that, so I had to quickly cut it. And if you see here,
Have a chance at defeating the Reapers.
I'll be back for you.
that camera changes pretty quick, but it worked pretty well. It cut right to the point. Kept with the music, and it kept that intensity kind of flowing until that song finally faded out into the Normandy going across the horizon of Earth as the remnants or the destroyed debris of the ships is crumbling into the atmosphere, which is really cool. The next part is something I'm really proud of, is kind of just getting the feel of Shepard going throughout the galaxy. For the most part, of course I couldn't get everything in there, but I felt like I got a good essence of, Shepard trying to get help for Earth. And of course, I kept with the Miranda theme, as I am big, as they call it, Mirimancer. I do see those two together as my canon, or my one that I believe is kind of the official one, in my opinion, or my headcanon. So this was kind of devoted to them as well. So they are a reoccurring theme as this thing goes on. So let's carry on here, and then I'll let this whole section play out.
Miranda, we're both under so much pressure to be perfect. We never give ourselves a break.
And that's just something I'd like to address too. I mean, of course, if it was up to me, this shot would have been done differently. I think it's a common misconception, or a common, joke amongst the Mass Effect community, is kind of, how some of the shots in the second game and the third game kind of portray, overly sexualize Miranda in some of the shots. This is kind of, it's annoying for me, because that's obviously not what I'm trying to portray in these scenes. If there was a way I could have gotten another shot on my own and done the camera work myself, I would have done it. but of course I'm limited to what they provide me with. So, just so, that's clear. I mean, that's not what I was shooting for. Anyway.
We can't give ourselves a break. There's too much at stake.
Hey,
Yes.
come here.
Oh? Still impatient, Commander?
Still trying to maintain control, Miss Lawson?
Trying. But failing.
Good. I'm almost out of moves.
I'm not.
The reports are accurate. Earth was attacked by the Reapers. And it's just the beginning. We need your help. We need to stand together. Now more than ever.
And that was an interesting part too, because in this speech that Shepard does, he doesn't actually say this at this time, so I had to kind of splice that from the longer segment and kind of stitch that together at the edited video portion, and that's why I did that kind of fade to the ships above Earth, which worked really well, and I'm really happy with how that turned out. And because he turns his back right at this end of the scene, and right when I had edited new audio in there, and that worked really well, and that was a really good transition. And I'm really happy with how that turned out. And then the next part, of course, is the Krogan, Shepard getting the Krogan.
You can stay here and let old wounds fester as Krogan have always done. Or you can fight the enemy you were born to destroy and win a new future for our children. I choose to fight. Who will join me?
I will.
And so will I. Now hold your heads high like true Krogan. There's a Reaper that needs killing!
Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, when I first started, I only had this song and the first song I heard earlier. Originally, and that's all I really had to go with. And when I first heard the song, I was just absolutely floored. I was just so impressed by it, and I couldn't stop thinking of such good ways to use this song. And I'm so proud to say that I feel like I really did a good job using this song in the way that I did. As Shepard's going through these moments with the Krogan and the Turian, and especially with the Council and Miranda. I think I'm just really that song is gonna be one of my favorite songs I've ever listened to. I'm so happy I got a chance to use it in a video, especially this video. I think it just helped. I just love that piece of music so much. As soon as I heard that, like I said, I was just floored. This next section is kind of like the last minute reprieve before everything starts to get pretty heavy. Of course, that's pretty subjective, depending on your character preferences and likes. But this is kind of the, no music, kind of just straight audio, kind of the last, kind of upbeat, little funny moment before everything starts to get a little bit more serious and a little bit more emotional. So this is a little section of fun right in the middle of it.
Miranda, good to see you. How do you like the place?
Not a part of town I'd normally associate you with, Shepard. I was hearing some confusing reports. Sounded like you had lost your mind.
No doubt. My communications were hacked, among other things. I'm sure the news had a field day.
It did. So, a clone?
Yes. Hard to imagine.
I'm not sure the galaxy could survive two Shepards. Think of the property damage. Oh, they shut down my favorite sushi place.
That's a shame.
Shepard, you didn't.
I did. Fell right through the fish tank.
How did you manage that?
It exploded. Trust me, I know all this isn't normal.
Speaking of trust, with all this clone business, how do I know you're the real Shepard?
I don't know. You just do.
I'm afraid you'll need to convince me. A compelling argument.
This is a crazy life, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Shepard. Yes, it is.
Like I mentioned earlier, there's a few shots where I had to tighten the shot to get rid of those silly little dialogue boxes so they wouldn't ruin the feel of the piece. This is an occasion right here, and similar to this one where the Paragon little thing appears in the corner when you have to press the left or right mouse button to do that little Paragon interrupt action. So I got rid of that. Unfortunately, I couldn't get rid of the sound without, of course, cutting off her voice, which isn't something I was going to sacrifice just to get rid of a little Paragon sound. But yeah, so that was good, and now it delves into kind of the lost territory where we kind of get to see some of the companions that Shepard comes to know that don't make it through this war, contrary to what was seen just a few moments before with the Krogan and the Turians. And now it's kind of the flip side and what, the more sadder part of it, and people that couldn't be with Shepard at this point in time. Sorry about that. Sometimes when Sony Vegas does a preview like this, whenever I open a project, sometimes one or two of the things will black out like that. But anyway, let's just keep going.
Error. Copying code is insufficient. Direct personality dissemination required. Shepard Commander, I must go to them. I'm sorry. It's the only way.
Legion, the answer to your question was yes.
I know, Tali. Thank you. Keep us alive.
Legion sacrificed itself to give us all intelligence. It will be honored.
Good.
And we will honor Legion's promise. The Geth fleet will help you retake Earth, and our engineers will assist in building the Crucible.
Truth is, Shepard, I'm not very good at being normal either. Bit of a disaster, really.
I get it. We just need a little practice.
Any ideas?
Oh, I've got some ideas. Miranda, you're here. You're beautiful. And I have you to myself. So tonight, I'm just gonna be a regular guy taking his best girl out on the town.
No space heroes or super spies?
Nope. Just bright lights, a few games, and some very foolish choices. Agreed?
Agreed. The odds are against us, you know.
Maybe. But I've got a good feeling about this.
Yeah, before that goes into that last final goodbye section, that was probably one of my favorite moments in Mass Effect 3. It's just that one, this kind of last really kind of romantic part between Miranda and Shepard, right before the I guess you could say right before the storm, before he goes off to finish the fight essentially, and that's kind of like the last really moment they get to spend with each other besides this upcoming goodbye. Of course, right here with the Normandy flying to the Citadel, that's just clever editing, because like I mentioned earlier with the Anderson leaving Earth conversation, I didn't have quite enough music to fill that gap for that full speech or that full dialogue, so I had to cut that. And following the natural dialogue of these two at this point,
Agreed?
Agreed. The odds are against us, you know.
I just feel like that flowed much better than what originally was put into the game. So I opted to make that change and kind of splice that together, throw in that Normandy clip, and then just kind of transition the audio from one to the next. And I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. And then right back here, backtracking just one more time, for Legion, that was a pretty big hit for me as I was playing through Mass Effect 3, because Legion, as you've come to know, or for me, as I've personally come to know him from Mass Effect 2, he was such a great, he was one of my favorite followers or allies, through Mass Effect 2, and once I got to see him again in Mass Effect 3, I was so happy that he returned, and to see him go out like that in such a heroic fashion, sacrificing himself to give every single one of his species their own intelligence to make their own decisions and choices was just really awesome, and I think they did Legion a great honor. And while of course I would have loved if he lived, of course I had to honor him by giving him some good screen time in this video. And then the next section, of course, is the final goodbye between Miranda and Shepard, at least for the majority of the last section of the video here. So I'll go ahead and play that.
Back to the fight?
At least we threw one hell of a party. Probably the last one.
Oh, come on now. I know you. You'll find a way to win. And when you do, I'll be waiting for you. I won't say it's been easy, but we've had a good run.
The best.
Yeah, so for that whole goodbye sequence, you know, I originally recorded that, and recorded the audio, and I tried switching it with a different song, but I very quickly realized that that song is absolutely perfect, and there's nothing I would have ever changed about that whole scene, especially with the music. The music is just phenomenal. So I decided I'm not going to touch this. I'm going to leave it where it is. It's absolutely perfect, and I don't want to mess with this because they did such a great job. And one of my favorite scenes, you know, the same one, you know, alongside this one back here, this whole goodbye sequence between Shepard and Miranda was really well done in my opinion. And that was, you know, I really like the whole, you know, I'll be there when you return whole deal, and that, you know, that was really nice to, you know, that was probably one of my favorite moments between the two. And like I said before, that kind of no music, kind of comedic, I guess you could call it, section. This is kind of like the getting ready for this is it. This is the big, you know, this is the big fight coming up. So I was kind of, you know, setting the stage for that. And now that it's kind of the halfway point in the video, and now it's time for the fight. It's time to retake Earth, finally. And it you know, the intensity kind of kicks up here quite a few notches, and it stays there until this fight is over. And I'm not sure how many times I'll be able to get to stop during this, because it kind of just never really stops. It just goes and then keeps going. So if I find a spot, I'll try and stop, but for the most part, I'm going to try and let this run as much as I can. But you know me. We'll see how that goes.
Never before have so many come together from all quarters of the galaxy. But never before have we faced an enemy such as this. The Reapers will show us no mercy. We must give them no quarter. They will terrorize our populations. We must stand fast in the face of that terror. They will advance until our last city falls, but we will not fall. We will prevail. Each of us will be defined by our actions in the coming battle. Stand fast. Stand strong. Stand together.
This is it, everyone.
Roger that. All fighters
quick comment before I let this final section play out. Is gotta be that's probably one of the most my most favorite piece of a video that I've ever had the privilege to edit together. That song, I heard it on Spotify as I was browsing for the last pieces of music. Like I said, from the two that I originally had, I needed a lot more music, obviously, because I used quite a few songs in this. So as I was browsing and I came up on this song, I was floored, like the second song. I was just amazed, and I knew exactly what I needed to use it for. And as you see on the timeline, I didn't need to do much with that video. I just kind of chunked it. I just cut some parts that needed to be cut, and then besides that, I just let that thing play, because that was such a that is one of my favorite moments in all of Mass Effect. You know, the entire trilogy is that beginning, the fleet arrives at Earth moment, and that was fantastic when I first played that. I was just so blown away, and that was just so awesome, and I just felt that song fitted so well. And now comes the last part where the last push with Shepard, with his crew, and kind of the rush for Earth and the battle for Earth, and the outcome of it. So let's jump on into this.
This war has brought us pain and suffering and loss, but it's also brought us together. As soldiers, allies, friends. This bond that ties us together is something the Reapers will never understand. It's more powerful than any weapon, stronger than any ship. It can't be taken or destroyed. The next few hours will decide the fate of everyone in the galaxy. We face our enemy together, and together we will defeat them.
And really quick before this dives in, it's kind of funny, it doesn't sound like it, but I had to butcher the shit out of that speech. Shepard's speech, as you can tell by all the red. The red is because the video and the audio isn't synced up. And similar to the situations before, I didn't have enough song to quite cover the entire speech. So I had to cut it up, reduce the length between when he said stuff, and luckily and very thankfully, it worked out a lot better. And this is one of the occasions. There's a few occasions in as I was recording this that I was like, damn it, I wish I didn't have my Shepard wearing a helmet, because as he talks to his helmet, there's obviously that kind of like, you know, it sounds like he's talking through a helmet. But in this specific occasion, I was so happy he had the helmet on, because you can't see his lips. Because if you saw his lips, you would know in a heartbeat that that speech was butchered. But thankfully, because he was wearing a helmet, you couldn't really tell, and it flowed pretty well. So I was pretty. That was pretty fun editing that together. I was pretty amazed that I was like, holy shit, you can't even tell. Wow. That was just fun. That was just fun to me. I don't know. I'm weird. Sorry. I find stuff like that really interesting. Anyway, sorry. Let's keep going.
Shepard, you insult a future you cannot comprehend.
And the only thing I'm really going to say about that is, you know, same thing before with the the fleet coming to Earth to retake it. That song, similar to that, I really enjoyed the what BioWare did here, and I really applaud the effort. And I didn't want to really. I felt like the scenes themselves were really, really well done, and I didn't need to do much editing to them. Besides a few jump cuts to, you know, save some time on the song. But for the most part, you know, that whole section was pretty much straightforward, and the pieces are segments are pretty long. And I really, you know, I didn't want to do anything to them because I felt like they were, like I said, they were really well done. And you know, for that segment in particular, you know, I pretty much had the whole video down except this part because I didn't have a piece of music. I had everything done, and I used all the music that you've heard so far. And you know, I said, oh shoot, what song am I to use for this part? Because this is probably, you know, one of the most action-packed, you know, most intense part of the whole thing, and I'm out of fucking music. Holy shit, what do I do? And you know, like I said, I was on Spotify, and you know, ironically, the Mass Effect 2 ending song, Suicide Mission, came on, and I said, you know what, this might just work. So I you know, went ahead and downloaded it and plugged it into this little segment of the movie here, and it worked great. And I was it was quite funny. I was like, I'm gonna use a Mass Effect song for a Mass Effect video. Why not? And it worked great. I was really impressed with how that worked out. Anyway, proceeding to the very final section. Now this part was very interesting. One, because this part, I'll quickly jump to it, kind of got corrupted since I've rendered it. So a piece of this this video is missing from the original that's on YouTube. So that's gonna be a little hiccup. But anyway, besides that, on a more broader scale, I've seen a lot of Mass Effect tributes, you know, before I made this. You know, a lot of people attempting or doing, you know, a lot of people made some really good ones too. I was really impressed by what people did making these Mass Effect tributes. And however, the thing I noticed that was very common in every single one of these tributes that I watched before I made this is everyone made a very dark ending. You know, they followed the original ending to, you know, Mass Effect 3, and you know, in which Shepard dies in all three of the endings, or you know, dies in quotations, or he's, you know, becomes the new catalyst, I guess you could say, the new Star Child, the new person that controls the Reapers, or the synthesis, whichever ending. But they usually, you know, they always had it where Shepard died, and they always tried to, you know, they did that, and some of them did it really well. And for me personally, I wanted to do something very different. I wanted to do something no one I had seen done, and I wanted to give it more of an upbeat, more happy type of feel. So you guys saw the video, and you guys have responded so overwhelmingly positive, and I think I pulled it off. And well, yeah, let's go ahead and watch this to the end.
This is the Admiral. We've got reports that someone made it to the Citadel. We need to give them time to get those arms open. All fleets converge on the Crucible. Protect it at all costs.
Anderson.
Now that was interesting. Really quick note, because I'm sure there's one person that wondered. In case you're curious, I cut out the entire elusive man conversation because I felt like it was extremely irrelevant to what I was trying to achieve, and it would have completely taken away from about everything that I've been doing. Trying to set up this more happier ending, and it would have made completely no sense and would have been so out of context because you've never seen the elusive man in this movie, and that would just came out of nowhere like a train out of nowhere. So I opted to just that smooth transition from Anderson and Shepard just sitting down, so that it just completely skipped the elusive man conversation. So in case you're curious, that was that was deliberate, and yeah. Anyway.
Commander?
We did it.
Yes, we did.
It's quite a view. Best seats in the house.
You did good, son. You did good. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, sir.
Over here.
Oh my god.
The war is over. The Reapers have been defeated. Against all odds, and in the face of the greatest threat this galaxy has ever known, we survived. We suffered many losses. The relays are severely damaged, but we won. This victory belongs to each of us. Every man, woman, and child. Every civilization. On every world.
And yeah. If any of you are wondering too, by the way, if you watched the ending and wondered what the hell is going on, that ending is completely done by the Jam alternate ending modification from Mass Effect 3. The JAM modification. If you search it up, it'll come right up. Essentially, this is how I envision the trilogy ending. While I don't think the original endings are bad, especially I don't think the rage over the endings or the jokes about the ending, I don't think they should be still continuing, even though I do still see people today kind of bashing the endings a little bit, which is, I don't know, it just feels weird to me because I thought the endings were really, really well done. But for me, like I said, I thought they were really well done, but they weren't my taste. They weren't for me personally. So, the JAM or the JAM modification really fixes it for me. And Shepard reuniting with Miranda here was just, as soon as I saw this mod in action, that I just sold it at that. That made me so happy to see that, and I was so impressed on how good that, what he did. I was really impressed by what he did, and that's about it. I really hope you enjoyed seeing this kind of behind the scenes look at why we fight. For any of you that may have been interested in seeing the whole timeline for how a project like that is created, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing that. It's certainly something different. It's something I was interested in doing ever since I created Why We Fight a couple weeks ago. I've been very interested in showing you guys kind of the work that was put into it. And I hope you like that. It was like I said, it's something very different, and I'll probably do a few more of these in the future. They're cool, and if any of you guys are into this type of stuff, it's certainly cool to see connect with the person that's making the videos that you like, and kind of see their process of doing it, and kind of like a director's cut. Get to hear what they think about it, and it's cool. It's fun to do, and it's good to I can't remember the last time that I actually got a chance to just one-on-one with me and you, the viewer. It's a very nice change of pace to what I've been doing, and I plan to do a lot more of these going forward as I have a lot more free time as it stands. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this kind of behind the scenes look. If you have some extra time after this, if you made it this far, that is, I'd like to preface this by, if you made it this far, thank you so much. It really does mean the world to me. I cannot express, how thankful I am if you made it this far, because that really means a lot to me. To sit there and listen to me talk for, I don't know how long this has been going on. I don't have a timer. What you see on my desktop right now is what I see. So anyway, thank you so much again. If you have some extra time, make sure to check out my other Mass Effect 3 videos or any of my cinematics. They're on a convenient playlist that I'll link in the description below. And I hope you guys stick around for more content that I'm going to be producing on my channel. And whether our paths cross in the future or not, I hope you enjoyed this video. And as always, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.